Chanukah Sameach. So we know, Api Chazal, the number 8 is beyond. We have the 6 days of the week, you have the 7th day of Shabbos, and the number 8 is beyond. And my son pointed out to me, when you draw a number 8, you actually never have to take your pen off the paper. You can start the 8 wherever you want to start it. You can start it in the middle, the beginning, and the end. And actually, in a sideways 8 is infinity. That's the sign they use for infinity. 8 means beyond. So what does 8 have to do with the 8 days of Chanukah and going beyond? Rav Eliyahu Dessler brings the Marshal, who says that the explanation of Olam Haba is not found in Tanakh. You don't find it in Tanakh. Where's Olam Haba? Sometimes it's really funny to me. Some people see I have a black hat on, they ask me a question, do the Jews believe in Olam Haba? Do they believe in the next world? I mean, for us, it sounds totally ridiculous. What do you mean? Our whole life is striving for the next world. That's why we're here. But people say it's not written in the Torah. It happens to be it's not written in the Torah. The next world is not written in the Torah. The Maharal wants to explain that the reason is because the next world is so far way beyond our perception that it's not shaykh to talk about it. It's not shaykh to talk about another world which is completely beyond our capabilities of understanding. We see a certain spectrum of light and we hear a certain range of sound, but beyond that, we don't have the capabilities to understand what the next world is about. So that's why Chazal doesn't talk about it. When does Chazal start to talk about it? Only later. When, by the Mishnayos level, when they started talking about later, Mishnayos, and they bring mashalim. They'll talk about an analogy to Olam Haba. They give examples of what it would be like. Happens to be that I know that the Rabbeinu Bachia says that the only way that the body can talk to the soul is through a mashal. The body is physical. We're in a physical world. There's no way to talk to our souls, which are infinite and totally beyond. There's no communication. There's nothing going on between the body and the soul in a certain sense. There is no communication. The only communication is with a mashal. If I explain, for example, that the thing is hot, it's like fire, Gehanim, the next world. If you're burning in fire, that I can understand because I know what fire is. Is it really fire? No, it's not really fire. It's something else. It's something beyond that we can't really understand, but I can understand it with a mashal. So Rav Dessler wants to take this and say this is the same way that we have to work on ourselves. The only way really we can penetrate our subconscious is by working externally. We have to take external things to get to our subconscious. The subconscious is not touchable. We can't touch our subconscious. Our inner being, in a certain sense, is not accessible to us. A very heavy idea. And he brings a raya, actually. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter brings a famous raya, proof. If you have one Talmud, a student, unbelievable student, your favorite student, he's always serving you, he's with you, he takes you places, you love him, he's smart, all the midos, everything. And then you have this son. And this son is, he doesn't really listen too much, he's chutzpah a little bit, and he doesn't listen, he doesn't show up. But still, all of a sudden in the middle of the night, they wake the guy up, they say, there's a fire in the dormitories over there. First thing his father says, where's my son? The Talmud, he loves the Talmud, and the Talmud is nice, takes care of him and everything, but at the end of the day, his son is his son. That's subconscious. Even you say at a conscious level, the person really enjoys that person more, but in the subconscious and the deeper in his kishkas, it's different. So how do we penetrate? How do we get to our subconscious? Because that's where everything's happening. The famous book back in the 60s, there was a famous book back in the 60s and the 50s, how to access your subconscious. And at the end of the day, even the non-Jews will say, the subconscious always wins. The subconscious will always win. Always wins. You can't beat the subconscious. If you have a thing, a stigma or something, a person has a famous thing, he feels money is bad. In his subconscious, it's something that ingrained in him from the time he was a child, money is bad. This guy's going to have a hard time being rich because his subconscious, no, I can't really be rich. I can't, because money is not good. It's evil. Now, how do you get into the subconscious to change those things? That's one question. But really now you have a kasha. Why did Hashem set us up like this? This is not fair. You want me to purify myself? You want to be holy? How am I supposed to get into my subconscious? My body's telling me, body's pulling me this way, and my conscious thoughts are only going after pleasures and money and taivas. And how am I supposed to? It's not fair. What's the setup here? This is a bad deal. So Rav Dessler wants to answer that it's dafka set up like that, because the deal is that Hashem wants us to be constantly working with hasmada. Hasmada, working, constantly working, and that, you'll see in a minute, is the way we're going to be Matzliach. The deal is that you have to be on guard every minute. That's the deal. That's what Hashem wants. Hashem sent us into this world to bring out our potential. And the way we're going to bring out our potential is to go, each constantly keeping on top of it. And there's a lot of rayas for this. So he brings down the Gemara in Reuven, and it's also Messiah Sharm brings it down. Was it better for man to be created or not created? It was really better for him not to be created, but now that he is created, so at least let him check out his deeds. Why would it be better that he was not created? Because he's going to fail. We're set up to fail. We are set up to fail. Our physical bodies, our taivas, the balances of our energies doesn't really withstand this idea of being righteous, of being pure, of being holy. It doesn't stand up to it. How do we live up to it? The answer is chespan and nefesh. And now, Baruch Hashem, truth, this is the first time I really understood this. He says, Mesilas Yesharim, and everybody knows this. Yomro hamoshlim ba'u b'cheshbon. The rulers of their evil inclination, what's the eitzah? To do cheshbon, to make an accounting. What did I do today? Where am I? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And constantly doing cheshbonos. And who said this? These are the people who overcame the Yetzer Hara. This eitzah amiti could only have been given by somebody who overcome this Yetzer Hara. Only a person who overcame his Yetzer Hara. Who is that person? The person in the cheshbon. How did he overcome his Yetzer Hara? With the cheshbon. By doing the cheshbon, that's the way we're going to be matzliach. Wait a minute. You just told me a second ago, I can't win. How is this cheshbon going to make me win? There's only one answer. The answer is Hashem's going to help us. That's the answer. And the Mesilas Yesharim says it. He says, it's pashutu. Even if a man is an intelligent person, and he works on himself, there's no way for us to be matzliach. It's only with the help of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Rav Dessler says, so that's the setup. That's the whole setup. We're set up to lose. We're set up to lose. And then and he says, that set up to lose is what's going to cause our hatzlacha. That's the thing. Because we're set up to lose, we know we're going to lose, and we can't. There's nothing we can do. So at least all we can do is to fight. And if we fight back, and we try, and we work hard, then Hashem's going to help us. In the end, the hatzlacha is going to come to Hashem. Being pure, kadosh, holy, all these qualities, not getting angry, and guarding your eyes, and all these kind of things. It's going to only come with siyat d'shmaya. And how's it going to work? It's going to work like the drip on the rock, like Rabbi Akiva. Drip after drip, day after day, minute after minute, checking out, what am I doing? Where am I going? Why am I doing this? Why do I feel this? What am I feeling? How come I reacted that way? What did I do today? What did I say? By doing cheshbon and nefesh, asking yourself over and over again, that that hasmada is somehow going to make the move from the conscious into the subconscious. Exactly how that works would be very hard to really explain. It's very, like they talk about my rabbis talk about the mind-body connection. Where is that connection exactly? Where, at what point, where does the mind touch the body? That place is very hard to find. But Chazal tells us it's going to work. One of the rayas is from Chaim Shmulevitch. He asked an unbelievable kasha. He says, what was the havamina that Tamar was going to be able to seduce Yehuda? Are you kidding me? You know who Yehuda was? Yehuda was a giant. Yehuda was you think he's some prostitute is going to come and seduce, that she acted like a prostitute and she's going to get Yehuda. Yeah, sure she's going to get Yehuda. How is it possible? How is it possible she could get Yehuda? So he answers, and he says, not only that, really at the end of the day, she didn't get Yehuda. You know what happened? The Chazal says that a malach pushed Yehuda to do it. He had to have an angel come along and push Yehuda towards Tamar. But what was she thinking? You know what she was thinking? Rav Chaim Shmulevitch says, she wasn't thinking. She says, listen, I know one thing. I know that the Mashiach is going to come from me. I know that through this, my Zerah is going to come, my Zerah with the family of Yehuda is going to come Mashiach, and I have to get this job done. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Ain't no economy, it's ridiculous. But I have to get the job done. So she did it anyway, and it worked. And it worked. I tell a famous story. One time there was a lady who needed to see the Ger Rebbe. So the Talmidim said, listen, you can't see the Ger Rebbe. He's busy now. You can't. Comes back 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. I have to see the Ger Rebbe. I have to see him. Okay? Finally, the 4th day, she comes. She goes to the basement, she starts screaming. Ah, she's screaming. So the Hasidim come and they take this lady out of the basement. Take her out of here. All of a sudden, the Ger Rebbe is sitting in the distance. He hears, who's that? Who's that screaming? It's a woman. I want to speak to her. Let me speak to her. It worked. She did something out of the ordinary. She did something because she knew that she had to be Matzliach. If you know that you have to be, I must be Matzliach. I have to be a Talmid Chacham. I don't have any money. It's hard for me. My brain doesn't work so well. I have ants in my pants. But I have to be. I have to be. And if you have to be, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be Matzliach. So, same thing by Chanukah. How does this all relate to Chanukah? What were these priests thinking? Yeah, we're going to take on the Greek army. You know? How many were there? They're going to take on the Greek army? That's insane. But the answer was, we have to. We have no choice. We have to take it. We have to protect Klal Yisrael. They were trying to take away the Torah from us. They were trying to take away our Torah. We're not going to survive. We have to beat the Greek army. And they got together, they started to fight, and they beat the Greek army with the Siyat D'Shmaya. What was the problem with the Greeks? Why were they so uptight about us? You know why? Exactly for this point. The Greeks held by logic, which means the five senses. And the intellect, the five senses, but this world, and the senses of this world. They couldn't stand that the Jews had something lamala above logic. We're above logic. We're going to do things above logic. We have chukim, we have basar v'chalav, milk and meat, we have the red heifer, we have chukim. They couldn't take it. They ate them up. What do you mean you guys are beyond logic? What does that mean? And they wanted to destroy that. And one of the ways they wanted to destroy that, they say, you guys don't have a kesher with Hashem. What Hashem? Where's Hashem? What are you talking about? Kesher with Hashem. A connection with God? Where's your connection with God? What are you talking about? You know what they made them do? They made them write on the horn of a bull, saying that they have nothing to do with God. They had to write on the horn of a bull that they have nothing to do with God. Why did they do that? Because the bull represents the golden calf. So it's like, you forget about it. Listen, you guys are finished. You know, okay, I agree, you got the Torah. Okay, you got the Torah. You say the Torah is your connection with God, your connection with the world beyond. Forget about it. You know what? You sinned. You sinned and it's all over. Now I want you to write on the horn of this bull that it's all over. You have no connection with God. That's what they want to do. They could not take that we had this relationship with Hashem. What did Hashem say? So the Gemara here, it brings Reish Lakish. It says that Am Yisrael, he says, listen, Am Yisrael said to Hashem, normally a guy has one wife, he divorces one wife, and he marries the other wife. But he still thinks about the first wife. Even if he divorced, he had one wife, he had a second wife, he divorced, and then he married the second girl, but even once in a while he'll think about the first wife. He says, but you Hashem, you divorced us, and you don't think about us anymore. So what did Hashem say back? He said, listen, my daughter, Am Yisrael, I created 12 constellations in the heavens, and each of them have 30 armies, and these armies have 30 legions, and each of the legions have 30 brigades, and in the Shemayim, there's all this stuff going on up there. And I've suspended 365 myriads of stars, all the stars in all the heavens. Have I not created all this for you? I have not forsaken you. The whole universe was created for the Jewish people to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. I haven't forgotten about you. You can't break the connection. And that was Chanukah also. Chanukah means you can't. You know, at a dreidel you do, on Purim we have a noisemaker. We grab it from the bottom and we shake it, and then the top moves. On the dreidel, you grab it from the top, and the bottom spins. That's the relationship of Hashem to us. I haven't forgotten you. I'm there. I'm always there. I'm with you. You cannot break that kesher. And that was the kesher that the Greeks were trying to break. And the fact that we found the oil was a siman from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the famous Rucham Shmuelevich, that was a siman, that from there we saw that Hashem was with us. There's no way to break the kesher. We have a kesher with God. And therefore, we must be matzliach. And the whole point is the Mesiras Nefesh, the Chashmanim, to go forward and to fight the Greeks, and to fight the Yetzer Hara, and to continue to the point where we will matzliach. Rafi gave actually a very nice mashal today. My son also gave a very nice mashal today. He said there was two frogs that fell into a hot bowl of cheese, a hot soup thing of cheese. So the frogs say, listen, there's no way out of here. We're in hot cheese, how are we going to get out of here? So one frog is sitting there. He started to swallow some cheese. He fell. The other frog said, no, I'm getting out of here. And he worked and he worked and he worked. And he's worked the cheese and he's moving around the cheese. All of a sudden the cheese starts to get hard because he's working so hard. The cheese gets hard. And then he's able to climb out of the pot. It's the same kind of idea. There is no way to be matzliach. We're not going to win. We're not going to win. But if we work, we will win. Even though we can't win, even though Hashem set it up that we can't win, even when there's no way to get into our subconscious, no way to change our kishkas, how do we get into our kishkas? The answer is, if we work hard, we will be matzliach.